Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's webinar for Building Better Business, brought to you by Fasoma. Tonight we have Michelle Gellis, who is going to be talking about ways to boost your practice with facial acupuncture. I am Natalia Morrison. I'm the executive assistant with Fasoma, and I'm going to be monitoring the webinar tonight. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, just add them into our chat box. And at the end of Michelle's presentation tonight, we will go over all the questions that you have. Hopefully they'll be answered throughout the webinar, but if not, make sure to type them in and we will always go over them and address them for you. So without further ado, here is Michelle Gellis, world-renowned teacher in facial acupuncture. You all have seen her teaching throughout the States. This past weekend, she was teaching at Fort Lauderdale, and this upcoming weekend, she's going to be teaching a 3-day class in Tampa. So if you haven't signed up for that, you still hopefully have time. Definitely show up. And I'm going to turn off my mic and my video, and the floor is all yours, Michelle.
Okay, great. So let me see, how do I share my screen?
At the bottom
Got it.
of the Zoom screen.
Share, and here we go. Let me see. Great. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I have just been teaching for 3 days here in lovely Fort Lauderdale. I love Florida, and I am hoping to move here in the fall. We'll see how that goes. I would like to talk a little bit today about how you can incorporate facial acupuncture into your acupuncture practice and the benefits and what you need to think about when you are considering incorporating facial acupuncture into your practice. A little bit about me. I am a board-certified acupuncture physician. I hold licenses in Maryland and in Florida. I've been teaching at the Maryland University of Integrative Health since 2004. My undergrad degree is in computer science from Seton Hall University and business, and my master's degree is in acupuncture from the Traditional Acupuncture Institute. I offer classes in cosmetic acupuncture and also treating neuromuscular facial conditions using facial acupuncture points, motor points, and submuscular needling. I've been published in the Journal of Chinese Medicine 2 times. And I've also been published multiple times in Acupuncture Today and the Maryland Acupuncture Society newsletter. And I've been traveling internationally since around 2006, teaching facial acupuncture classes to other acupuncturists. What I would like to talk about today, I thought I had reordered these. This is actually pretty funny. So we're let's look at the numbering instead of the ordering of the topics. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the benefits of facial acupuncture, both for your patients and your practice. Why providing a full body acupuncture treatment is important to facial acupuncture as opposed to just treating the face. Why it's important to get trained and to learn all the documentation, safety, red flags, an overview of really what's involved in incorporating facial acupuncture into your practice, so timing, marketing, pricing, And then a couple of the tools of the trade. Does it really matter what you use when you're doing facial acupuncture? So what is facial acupuncture? Facial acupuncture includes both cosmetic acupuncture and acupuncture for any neuromuscular facial conditions, such as the more common ones like Bell's palsy, TMJ, trigeminal neuralgia, stroke, ptosis, and many others, myasthenia gravis, and MS, other conditions that can affect the face. The needles are important when you're doing facial acupuncture, but also doing facial cupping, facial gua sha, and possibly using a derma roller. All of these things can be very beneficial to stimulating the face. So is facial acupuncture some new trendy thing that the Kardashians are doing? A lot of it is on social media. When I first started teaching facial acupuncture, most people hadn't heard about it, but now it is very popular. But is it just something new? Well, no, facial acupuncture has been around since the Sung Dynasty. It's been used since around 1279, documented, and it was used on the Empress and the Emperor and his concubines. They have actually found quotes and evidence of acupuncture tools and facial jade cosmetic tools on the Emperor's nightstand, along with some of his other things when with his burial remains. There have been a lot of studies on facial acupuncture and the effectiveness of facial acupuncture. There was a widespread study in 1996 in the Journal of Clinical Acupuncture. It was 300 people were studied, and they measured the depth of the wrinkles and the changes in skin color and things of that nature, and looking at all of the individuals that had facial acupuncture and the thickness of their skin, and the results of the study, which were very positive, over the course of 2 sets of 12-week treatments, so 12-week and 12-week, and the results were quite impressive. Other studies that have been done are listed here. Some of them have to do with neuromuscular conditions and other cosmetic treatments, and you can look these journal articles up. So all that said, does it work? Does facial acupuncture work? Because that's the #1 question that people have when they call. I've read about it, I've heard about it, but does it really work? These are just a few photos that I have taken over the years of facial acupuncture. This first one on the top left, patient had a lot of wrinkles in their neck, and just through some facial cupping, I, within one treatment, took some photos. As I was doing the cupping, you can see the after photo, how this top line, these are called necklace lines, how this top line in the person's neck dissipated quite drastically. In the center top photo, this was a patient of mine who had a scar on their face, and it was a raised scar she also had a lot of concerns about some of her lip wrinkles. And I treated her for a little while. And as you can see, over time, her scar disappeared completely and her lip wrinkles smoothed out as well. The far right photo, this was a patient who had very deep lines in their chin, and you could see the corners of her mouth were turned down quite dramatically. And over the course of, I think it was about 12 weeks, because it takes about 12 weeks for your body to produce collagen, but also I used some motor points on the corners of her mouth. You can see the corners of her mouth turned up and the wrinkles in her chin smoothed out. In this bottom photo here, this was the patient who had dark spots on her face. Her skin, the condition of her skin was very good, but she did have some dark spots, we call them age spots, and just using some intradermal needles, the spot disappeared. A couple more photos. Patient who had very deep forehead lines, and after several treatments using needles, cupping, gua sha, the forehead lines disappeared. You can also see these lines over her left eyebrow has smoothed out. And this last photo on the right, this was a patient of mine who'd been coming to me for on and off for many years. She had issues with carpal tunnel in her elbow, and she had seen something on social media about facial acupuncture, and her concern was that her eyebrows were falling down and she really wanted them lifted, and she wanted to know if it worked. So I said, okay, let me just treat one side. So I treated her left eyebrow. I treated her right eyebrow and one treatment, and you can see the difference in how much higher her right eyebrow was after one treatment. And some of it is, some localized inflammation, but it was a very profound difference. And she ended up coming to me for cosmetic acupuncture. So when you think about incorporating it into your practice, what does it mean? Well, you do need to get trained. You can't just wing it on your own and just make some stuff up. When you're getting trained, setting up some specific social media marketing, having pages on your website that can help you can be very beneficial. And one of the concerns about facial acupuncture that I hear all the time is, oh, it takes so much time, it takes so much time. But honestly, once you get good at it, you can run 2 rooms at once. So you may not be able to see 4 patients an hour, but you can definitely see 2. And once you've been doing it for a while, you can probably see 3, because the patients can lay on the table for quite a bit with needles in them while you go to the next person. And the way I teach my classes, I train my students to use facial motor points and other techniques that, in conjunction with body points, can really form a comprehensive system where your patients can get the best results with using the fewest needles. I am a classically trained Worsley 5-element acupuncturist, and a big thing for us is use the fewest needles possible in order to affect the greatest results. And your pricing will be 1.5 to 2 times what you normally would charge, because you are using a lot more needles and spending more time. So it is a cash influx into your practice. There is no insurance involved. So a lot of my patients pay me literally in cash or in checks. You don't have to pay someone to run this through your insurance, and it actually can be quite profitable. One thing that you can do to bring this into your practice is convert your existing patients. So having brochures and talking to them about it. If they ask questions, if they know that you offer cosmetic acupuncture, then they will ask you about it. I had mentioned that it's important to get trained, and there are really a lot of reasons for this. Well, depending on your insurance, I know the American Acupuncture Council requires that acupuncturists get trained in cosmetic acupuncture. And part of the reason of this is they teach you proper documentation and how to screen your patients. You will get specific forms that you will need, because you are putting a lot of needles in someone's face, and the face is very unique. I'm writing a journal article about this currently, and the face is heavily vascularized and has it's innervated only by two nerves, the facial nerve, the trigeminal nerve, and you really do need to understand you're dealing with an area that's very susceptible to wind and heat, and what is unique about treating the face versus the body, and also how to put together a comprehensive treatment plan for someone so that the body points that you're working with will be in service of the face. You need to know what physical conditions to screen for. For example, a couple of examples: high blood pressure, migraines, any sort of wind conditions or heat conditions that they might have had in the past, blood clots. So the face is definitely a unique thing to be working with, which brings us to some of the red flags, preconditions. You don't want to be doing cosmetic acupuncture on someone who's pregnant, and if it's done improperly, it can cause fainting, migraines, and bruising. So I am a very strong believer, as someone who is one of just a handful of people in this country that is certified to train people. I'm a very strong believer in getting trained. I see a lot of photos on Instagram, these horrific photos of people putting 100 needles in their patient's face, and it really doesn't have to be a lot of needles if they're placed properly, and if you understand what you're doing, you don't need to be using that many needles. A little bit more about training, just a picture of the face here. Here is just a few, not all, but this is a few of the muscles on the face. The face has a lot of very small muscles, and when you're working with the face, having a real good knowledge of which muscles need to be relaxed, which are better a little more tight, because if your muscles are too tight, let's say your corrugator muscles are too tight, that can cause wrinkles in your forehead. However, if your platysma muscle is too loose, it can cause sagginess in your neck area. And as someone who's almost 59 years old, I can tell you the last thing you want is a loose platysma. There's 44 muscles in the face, and they're all very thin and tiny and at different depths. And in addition to the facial muscles, there's muscles all around the scalp, the neck, and some other smaller muscles like the levator muscle, which helps to lift your lid. And safety is a big issue when you're working with the face. You have major veins and arteries, tiny little capillaries. And as I mentioned, the face is very susceptible to bruising and also to neurological conditions, things like trigeminal neuralgia. And so you really do want to know where the facial nerves are and the facial veins before you start needling the face. This was me teaching someone in a class, and although the webinars are great, it's really nice to watch a video. It's really wonderful to have a small class environment with hands-on training. I just taught this class in Fort Lauderdale. I had 2 assistants, both who've studied with me 4 times and are excellent. And we all went around and helped the students really learn. Here, the student in this photo is putting in an intradermal needle, and stomach 9, you can see, these are a lot of points that can be a little tricky to needle. So you want to learn how to needle these properly so you don't hurt your patient, and it's a pleasant experience for them so they continue to come back. I have patients that have been coming to see me for 15 years for cosmetic acupuncture, and they don't look any different now, any older now than they did 15 years ago, because cosmetic acupuncture can be very much like a facial. And it's maintenance. It's something you do to maintain your appearance like anything else we do. It's really no different than brushing your teeth or polishing your nails or coloring your hair or whatever you might do. I tend to think of it as grooming. So here are some photos of poor technique. And this picture on the left, whoever did this, and I don't know who, way too many intradermal needles. This is a lot of work. When I do intradermals, I tend to do 5, the most 10 in a patient. And this is very, very intensive work. The intradermals aren't really inserted deeply enough to induce collagen, and there's just too many of them. This center photo, I don't even know what's going on here, but this was a cosmetic acupuncture photo. These needles look like they were very painful. They're very close to the jugular vein. They're very deep. And these were just people on social media promoting their facial acupuncture practice. So this one on the right, way, way, way too many needles. It looks like a tremendous amount of work and just painful. So here are some proper techniques, things like threading. This was a patient of mine, had a couple of forehead wrinkles, some crow's feet, one needle here threading the forehead line, couple of intradermals here in the, they call them the 11s between the eyebrows. And then over here on the right, this is a technique I use for the platysma and to help to smooth out the necklace lines, the turkey neck, and all that kind of laxity that goes on in the neck. I also teach some advanced skills for the neck. I think this is a working video. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see.
In order to locate the digastric muscle, you will use one finger and you will locate the mastoid process right here. And you also want to locate the hyoid bone, which is right here. What you want to do is draw an imaginary line between the two of them. And then using your index finger, you're going to palpate along the line and you'll find a very thin muscle right here, and that is the posterior digastric. And if you draw an imaginary line between the hyoid bone and the underside of the chin, you can palpate for the front of the digastric muscle. So the digastric goes from the mandible, and then it kind of takes a turn here and attaches back here at the mastoid process. So the part of the digastric muscle that we're going to needle using submuscular needling is right here underneath the chin, and this will help with the if someone has a lot of excess or laxity there. So to feel the digastric muscle on the anterior, you're going to ask your patient to open their mouth. Go ahead and open your mouth and then close it. And you can feel the underbelly of the digastric muscle. It's about the width of a pencil. So again, it comes from here, and then it comes up to the hyoid, and then it attaches here. So what you're going to do is, once you've found the muscle, you're just going to kind of grab it with two fingers, and you're going to just use a 1/2 inch red sarin needle and get right underneath like that. And you can usually get 2 needles in, just like that. And then you're going to come along on the other side. And you're going to be right here. You're going to get right underneath the muscle like that. And then one more. Get right underneath like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. See how there's the one muscle is right over here, and then the other one is here. So you would just kind of crisscross the needles.
So that was an example of how you would do some advanced needling techniques for a specific muscle group. A little bit about the tools of the trade. Does it matter what you use? Believe it or not, this photo here on the left is a photo of an acupuncture needle, and this is a relatively inexpensive acupuncture needle. And when you are doing cosmetic acupuncture, you really do want to use the highest quality tools that you can find. I was hoping to get a picture of a sarin needle before I did this webinar, but unfortunately I kind of got bogged down with class this weekend. But if you can imagine this photo without all of these notches and burrs, then that is what a high quality needle looks like. So if you were a hairdresser, you would not be going to Target and buying cheap scissors to cut your client's hair. If you were a chef, you would not be going to the grocery store and buying kitchen knives that were $1.99. You would be purchasing quality tools to practice your trade. And the same thing goes really for our acupuncture needles. You need to be purchasing the best quality needles that you can purchase in order to cause the least amount of trauma for the face. So this is really part of your marketing. If your patients are not bruising and they're getting a good result and they keep coming back because the process is relatively painless, then you're going to have a very full practice. I do recommend sarin needles. I don't work for the sarin company, but almost all of us in this country and pretty much around the world, people that teach cosmetic acupuncture, by and large, we all use sarins. And the reason is they are the best made needles. As far as facial cups, I like glass cups with the rubber ball, and the smaller ones that look like this. So you would use this to kind of middle-sized cups for facial cupping. The little one can be used for points, and the larger one you can keep for yourself. Use it for some cellulite, or use it on your patients for some neck points. But I do like hand-blown glass cups. Gua sha tools should be made out of jade. And this is the shape that I like. It has multiple purposes. This will really keep your costs down and at the same time really increase your patient satisfaction. The flat side of the tool is great for the temporalis muscle and working down the trapezius, and the curved edge is wonderful for the jaw, and then the little knobs on the side are wonderful for working in the temples and stimulating acupuncture points. Here's an example of a tweezer that I use for intradermals. This is a Tweezerman tweezer, and it has a wide grip and a little slanted tip. And then for bruising, I do like arnica gel put on before treatment. Additionally, derma rollers are great for in between treatments, or you can incorporate it into your treatment. I am the founder of the Aculift Derma Roller Company, and they can also be purchased through LASA OMS, but derma rollers have tiny little needles on them, and it's great to have product in your practice. It's an additional source of income for you. These can be purchased wholesale. The regular Aculift derm roller comes in a face roller or a body roller. You use it on your skin, or your patient uses it on their skin, and it stimulates collagen. It opens the skin up to absorb serum. And the Hydra roller and the Hydra needle you would fill with serum, and this can be used as a spot treatment or all over. Great for travel, and it helps save money because normally with serum you put it on your hands and then you rub the serum on your face. But in this case, it's infused directly into the skin. A little bit more about some techniques and how important, again, how important it is to get trained using a good technique with intradermals versus people who try to train themselves. Poor technique. These are photos that I pulled off the internet on the right. The one on the left is one of my patients who has some crow's feet, and I put some intradermals in. On the right, someone who was bragging they put intradermals in their own face. So if you want to have a full, vibrant practice, and you want to be able to make the best use of your time, it's important to learn some skills. It's really unnecessary to do what's going on here on the right. So what are the specific benefits of facial acupuncture for your practice? People tend to spend money on their vanity more so than anything else. So it is a reliable stream of cash income. There's no insurance involved. People will spend money on their vanity before they will on their aches and pains. It can help to widen your scope of practice. So in addition to the whole cosmetic piece, you can work with neuromuscular facial conditions confidently. You'll have a very unique skill set. You'll be known in your area as the person who knows how to treat these different conditions. My protocol for treating neuromuscular facial conditions involves facial motor points, submuscular needling, scalp acupuncture, and it really helps you to capture a niche market by offering services that are not widely practiced. So here I am doing some facial gua sha, and here I am doing some derma rolling. The facial acupuncture will work with the body and the face to bring qi and blood to the area. Done properly, facial acupuncture is a full body treatment. It will help to improve digestion, immunity, circulation, reduces inflammation, carries nutrients out to the cells by stimulating collagen and elastin production. And the collagen production is due to microtrauma, which happens at the insertion site of the needles. There's a wound healing response, can help to reduce a double chin. You can see here in the bottom right, facial cupping, helping to move some of that lymph and stagnation. If someone has had a facelift, once they've healed, like about a year after the facelift, once they've completely healed, you can do facial acupuncture. It helps the facelift last longer and really helps with the fine lines and the wrinkles all over the face. It's great preventative medicine too. I have a lot of younger patients that come, and it helps to prevent the wrinkles from happening in the first place. This photo on the top left is a patient who had sagging eyelids, and I had done some points to lift the brow and therefore the lid. Another patient who had a neuromuscular condition of ptosis, and you can see in the photo on the left, her right lid and her left lid were very different, and after some treatments, they were more symmetrical. So as I mentioned, facial acupuncture can help with several different neuromuscular conditions, and it also works on a very deep level to reduce a lot of the emotional underpinnings of facial conditions. A lot of our facial expressions get lodged in our face, whether it's grief or anger, sadness, frustration, even over-the-top joy, anxiety. And by doing a full body treatment, you can smooth out a lot of this and allow the patient to relax. And a relaxed face is a happy face. Here's a student of mine in class. She had rosacea, and I did cupping on one side of her face, and you can see the difference in the redness just from doing the cupping on the right side of her face. Things like dark spots can be reduced by treating the zong and using zong fu theory. So here we have stagnant liver blood, and facial acupuncture can help to clear some of that. Other underlying conditions, yin deficiency, qi, stagnant, blood deficiency, problems with the Jin-Ye, and excesses. All of this is going to show up on your face. Helps to ground your patient. So here's a patient who has some lung yin deficiency. Also works with expression lines, liver, gallbladder. So they say the one line is liver, the two is more gallbladder. And someone who's very angry has a lot of anger lines on their face. So by treating the liver and the emotional problems, you're helping to treat the face. I just put this slide together recently. If you are going to bring facial acupuncture into your practice, some things that you can do to make your facial acupuncture practice special. Makeup remover, wipes in your treatment room, memory foam topper on your table because your patient will be laying there for a little bit, some soothing spa music, maybe you're an essential oil diffuser, putting a heat lamp on stomach 36 or REN 6, giving samples of skincare products, using a fluorescent floor lamp when you're introducing the needles to the face instead of a bright light. Again, investing in high quality needles, not using cheap needles, maybe some electric candles, soft lighting, having arnica gel on hand to reduce or prevent bruising, small ice packs. If a bruise does happen, they don't have to happen. And in my practice, they happen very infrequently, maybe 6 times a year. And I treat a couple of dozen patients every week for cosmetic acupuncture and have been for many, many years. But if one does happen, having the small ice packs and then having some hair ties or headbands just to keep their hair out of their face when you're doing the cupping and gua sha. So in conclusion, facial acupuncture can have many benefits for your patients and your practice. Providing a full body treatment is essential and really should be part of your facial acupuncture treatment. Proper training is imperative to a truly successful facial acupuncture practice. And incorporating facial acupuncture into your practice does not have to be a big deal. It can be very easy and efficient, and the use of quality tools is very important. And that is the end of my show.
Thank you. That was really great. I hope everyone really enjoyed that. We have a thank you for Bella. So everyone that is joining us tonight, this is your opportunity to ask Michelle your questions. So if you have a moment, type in your question. We're going to give you a few minutes. Hopefully you have some questions about how to, sorry, I'm tired too. How to incorporate this new style into your practice and make it successful. Michelle has become very successful at this, not only in her clinic, but also being able to teach this to all of you and traveling to teach it. I personally have incorporated it into my practice. It's really fun. People are very curious about it. And like you said earlier, there's this main stream exposure for facial acupuncture, like the Kardashians are doing, and they're at the Harper's Bazaar, InStyle, all these magazines are talking about it, and everyone's really curious. So it's definitely already being marketed for you. All you have to do is like wave your hand, be like, hey guys, I also do this, come over, right? So it's really, for me personally, it's been really interesting to see how my patients have responded by just saying, hey guys, I've started to do this. A lot of people love it. So it was really good that you touched on that and all the tools that we can incorporate, because people get hung up on that. There's such a large variety of cupping sets, of gua sha tools, of tweezers. How do you pick the right one? And yours was just simple and straight to the point.
Thank
you for that. Right, so we have a comment by Bella. She says, I have trained in cosmetic acupuncture for about 2 years when I was back in China. My teacher taught me to use glass cups for the facial, but some patients, very rare though, complained about hot cups on their faces. I wonder if there's a way to avoid the burn from the cups.
So, hi Bella. I do not use fire cups. I use suction cups, and they're glass cups that have a bell suction on the end. You can get them many places. I know Lhasa OMS has them, and this way, I know I've been trained by several people, but I trained with Ping Zong, and she did use fire cups. And when I discovered the suction cups, they were a lot more appealing to patients because I too was concerned about that. So you might want to look into using a suction cup as opposed to a fire cup on the face.
Oh, thank you. I personally had not heard of using the fire cups on the face.
To see Ping Zong do it is pretty impressive. She uses a Bunsen burner and just, does her thing. Wow. But I have not tried it.
Amazing. Very cool. Thank you for that. We have another question from Marlene. Do you know if you have openings for your Tampa workshop? She wants to sign up.
Hi, Marlene. As a matter of fact, I do. So you can go to my website, facialacupunctureclasses.com. It's going to be a great class. Dr. Kim Black-Caparelli will be offering, in addition to my class, Dr. Kim will be offering a 1 hour early Sunday morning, 1 hour the AIT, the injection therapy for the face, and that's included in the price of the class. So you don't have to attend that part, but I was pretty excited when she offered. She's a friend of mine. And so the class is next Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday morning is facial gua sha. It's optional, but facial gua sha and cupping. And then in the afternoon, I'm also offering an advanced class on motor points, submuscular needling, and special protocols for the neck. So you could just go to facialacupunctureclasses.com and you can register directly.
Wonderful, thank you. And Bella says, can't wait to take your classes in Arizona.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'll be in Scottsdale in like 2 weekends, and I'm very excited about that too. I love Scottsdale, so great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you all of you for joining us. If you have any last minute questions, type them in quickly. So as Michelle said, her website is facialacupunctureclasses.com, correct?
Yes.
And definitely go check it out. She has a variety of workshops lined up throughout the whole country. You can learn more about her products and videos. So thank you again, Michelle, so much for being here with us tonight.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for being here as well. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And we'll talk soon.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye.